What's up, everyone? It's Karthik with MoneyVest. So tomorrow is literally the day. It's going to be a very, very, very historical day in the markets because Nvidia is going to be reporting their numbers. And this is not an overstatement, but the markets are watching those earnings very, very closely. So it's really going to come down to this man and this man alone and what is going to be that reaction from the market after Nvidia's earnings. And I cannot emphasize on how important tomorrow is going to be after the markets close. Comment down below what your expectations are for tomorrow with Nvidia. There's of course been a lot of memes related to Nvidia stock pretty much holding up the entire market from coming down. Again, there's been a lot of memes how Nvidia is literally just holding up the entire market because this company is going to be impacting a lot of other artificial intelligence and technology companies, which in turn is going to be impacting the entire market because technology has a pretty significant weight in the entire market as well. Now, this right here is one of the comments from today. So shout out to Raj again. So no timeline, but I closed my Nvidia puts with a 70% profits today. Thanks, Karthik, again, for a decent profit in 5 days. So again, congratulations, Raj. And if you want to get access to all the alerts, trade ideas, access to members only videos, as well as our website, as well as our Discord, everything included with the links down below, 16% annual discount that does expire at the end of this month. So there's limited time left. If you want to take advantage of that, feel free. And this right here is my trade setup for tomorrow. And not only the entire market, my portfolio of options is also dependent on whether Nvidia goes up or not. So this right here, again, you can see the net liquidation value, $72,000, available buying power, 2,000. So all in all, this is a trade worth over $70,000 right now, as I mentioned earlier. I've got puts on SOXL. I've got puts on Nvidia as well. They're currently up, so anywhere from 11% to as much as 22 to as much as 53%. So we're doing good. We're doing pretty. But again, tomorrow is going to be the big day. We're going to find out how this portfolio does, options portfolio. I'll send out an update on Friday for when these puts expire, but depending on the move after hours, I'll make a decision on Thursday after the markets close, or before the markets close, or after the markets open, and then I'll place new trades for the next week as well. So again, if you want to get access to the options portfolio and updates regularly, find out exactly what I'm trading, link's going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board, and that's going to be very, very historical day because a lot of things are going to happen with Nvidia earnings. Now, Super Microcomputer got a bit of a beating intraday. It was down a little bit over 10%, but then it got bought up very quickly because Hindenburg Research released a short report suggesting for fresh evidence of accounting manipulation, sibling self-dealing, and sanctions evasion at this AI high flyer, Super Microcomputer, but it did get bought up here fairly quickly. And I haven't taken a lot of, I haven't read this entire report, but I did read up a little bit about it where the company was essentially telling its employees to maximize revenues by not abiding by the laws of GAAP accounting principles. And really just there was a lot of issues with their books and how they were reporting revenues. And for those reasons, they are currently short on that stock, releasing this report as of August 27, 2024 as well. So Nvidia has become the world's most important stock, adding pressure to upcoming earnings reports. In Nvidia's past 3 quarters, revenue has more than tripled on an annual basis, as we already know, as well as earnings. EPS has also more than tripled. Or in other words, we've seen triple-digit growth here. Analysts expect 4th straight quarter of triple-digit growth, but at a reduced pace of 112%. to $28.7 billion. And from here, year-over-year comparisons get much tougher. That's true. And growth is expected to slow down in each of the next 6 quarters. And that is there's no surprises there because as numbers get bigger and bigger, it becomes more and more difficult for companies to grow their revenue, grow their earnings. And that's just a law of numbers here. And investors will be paying close attention to Nvidia's forecast for the October quarter. The company is expected to show growth of about 75% to $31.7 billion. Optimistic guidance will suggest that Nvidia's deep-pocketed clients are signaling on ongoing willingness to open their wallets for AI build-out, while a disappointing forecast could raise concerns that infrastructure spending has gotten frothy. And That's really is the downside here if there is issues with Blackwell, which also we will discuss. Blackwell timing is going to be very, very important because if there's any type of delay, there was an information report earlier this month that the company is facing production issues, which will likely push big shipments back to the first quarter of 2025. And Nvidia said that the time in the production was on track to ramp in the second half of the year as well. The report came after Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang surprised investors and analysts in May by saying the company will see quote unquote a lot of Blackwell revenue this fiscal year as well. And then finally, given the steep increase in hyperscale capex over the past 18 months and the strong near-term outlook for investors, again, frequently questions is sustainability of the current capex trajectory. And much of the optimism heading into the report, the stock is up almost 10% in August, is due to comments from top customers about how much they're continuing to shell out big money for data centers and Nvidia-based infrastructure. And again, the stock price has been doing quite well. Now, this right here is the expectations. My expectations, at least, is what I mentioned before. There is about a 75% probability that the stock goes up after the earnings are released, and that's simply looking at the last 8 quarters worth of analysis with a median move of almost 7%, average move of a little bit over 8%, and Nvidia has done incredibly well over the last 8 quarters. It has gone up 6 out of those 8 times, and the 2 times that it was down, it was only down 1 to 2% post-close, post-earnings. And I don't know, what should I put down here, folks? Let me know in the comment section down below. I really want this to be as engaging as possible. Let's see if we can get 100 predictions on Nvidia stock for tomorrow. So comment down below. I really want to see 100 comments in this video and what you're expecting for Nvidia's move after the earnings come out. I've already mentioned this. I am net long on this position because I'm expecting a little bit of a higher move. But even if that doesn't happen, even if Nvidia drops after hours, I've got a margin of safety of close to 20% now since Nvidia stock was higher on the day today. So I'm still sitting pretty, and the probability for that successful trade is very, very high because it's very data driven. And again, we have our risk contained within a specific threshold. But let me know in the comment section down below, what are you expecting from Nvidia post earnings? I'm going to put down a modest 5% move here for Nvidia. So that is what I'm expecting for the company tomorrow. So there you have it. That is my expectation for tomorrow from Nvidia. That is going to be adding close to about $150 billion in market cap, which again is not a whole lot, but it's still a decent number to get us back up to almost near all-time highs. So that is going to be my expectation, but let me know in the comment section down below, what are you thinking for Nvidia for tomorrow? Coming over to some of the other things, Wall Street climbs as investors focus on Nvidia results. By the way, this right here was the market's performance. NASDAQ up a little bit over 16 basis points, S&P 500 down 32. So again, a little bit of rotation out of utilities over to technology today. So once again, we saw investors flooding out of utilities and a little bit more of those staple and defensive stocks over to technology once again in anticipation of those earnings from Nvidia tomorrow. So it's actually quite telling that the S&P 500 just got updated for some reason. Yep, 16 basis points higher. I don't know why Webull does this, but it just literally got updated 16 basis points higher. So more or less flat on the day, and the NASDAQ was also slightly higher, and the Dow Jones basically flat as well. So all in all, we got the Money Best Index trading at just under 4, 76 to 75% of stocks trading back above their 50 to 200 simple moving average, 88% of stocks back above their 20 simple moving average. We got the volatility just a little bit over 15 in the 35th percentile. We got the put call ratio at just under 1, RSI over 60, 0.75% drawdown from all-time highs, almost 23 times earnings multiple, and the Mag 7 concentration remains at well over 31% for the Magnificent 7 stocks. And this right here is on the day. So if I essentially come all the way at the bottom, $69 billion gain for the S&P 500, which again is not a whole lot. 69 billion, that is actually quite crazy. And then if you come take a look at Magnificent 7, we actually saw a little bit of a outflow of $1.2 billion. Nvidia did its part. It was up 1.4%, gained about $45 billion. Just want to double check that on the day here. So Nvidia 1.46%, so that is correct. And we did have a lot of outflows in Tesla, Amazon, and Google. That was one of the reasons why this Magnificent 7 were down, because we did have, Tesla selling off over 12 billion, 19 billion coming off of Google, and another 25 billion dollars coming off of Amazon. But Nvidia, of course, was enough at $45 billion to push this entire Magnificent 7 index basically to break even only down 1.2 billion. Then we also saw $5 billion from Meta Platforms coming off. So basically the only 3 companies that were green today from Magnificent 7 were Nvidia, Microsoft, and Apple. That's pretty much it. So Microsoft, Apple, and Nvidia. So Amazon, Tesla, Google, and Meta Platforms selling off on the day. So a little bit over $1.2 billion in Magnificent 7, but overall for the entire market, $68 billion is what we gained. And the biggest gainer on the day, if you come over to descending, we got Nvidia, of course, next to Apple, just under 13 billion. And then we have Berkshire Hathaway, we had Broadcom also increasing by $8 billion. Costco back-to-back green days, and not just by a small number, but actually a pretty large number. We're talking well over $7.2 billion, so a little bit over 1.8% increase for Costco. And then we had MasterCard also increasing by almost $6 billion and $5 billion increasing from Visa as well. So Visa and MasterCard both increasing a little bit here on the day. So coming over to the S&P 500 and of course talking a little bit about volatility. So we are sitting at over 15.4 right now, down about 4.4%. So we did start the day a little bit higher and then of course sold right back down. As you can see that we're back down to this green line around 15.3. And again, we're going to be watching some of these levels here inside this green rectangle, as you already know. When the VIX is high, it's time to buy. But of course, the lower it gets, the better, the more cautious and the more alert we need to be moving forward. Now, coming over to crude oil, we are seeing crude oil at just over $75 per barrel. So a little bit over 1.6% lower. And this right here inside this green rectangle is going to be that very, very important level of support that we need to watch for crude oil, and resistance, of course, all the way up to 81 to as much as $82 per barrel for crude. Coming over to the markets, and this right here is what the charts are telling us. If you come over to S&P 500, so again, a lot of consolidation sideways. We're not really seeing a lot of momentum, but we are coming up to its resistance once again. And this right here is the consolidation that we're witnessing for S&P 500. So boom, 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 back and forth here for S&P. And we got a huge resistance sitting right there, 56.40. And of course, a massive support sitting right there inside this green rectangle. And tomorrow is the day, folks. If the bulls have it in them, we could break out above this level of resistance to potentially new all-time highs. Or if the bears take over, it's possible that we do get a bit of a retest down to 55.65. But this right here, very, very important level of support that we need to watch and hold moving forward. And that's, again, kind of represented over here from this green arrow, so support level here. Talking about the NASDAQ, same story. So basically coming over to QQQs, you'll notice, again, a lot of consolidation. We got bought back up from that support once again. So the bulls are still somewhat strong here, but there is weakness. So it really is going to be coming down to Nvidia, because if we do see some weakness on Nvidia post earnings, it's possible that this QQQ index also breaks down below that support of 475, and then we are maybe headed down to 470s again or mid 460s. So that is a possibility as well. But of course, stronger earnings going to put us on the map to getting up to 487, closer to $490 once again. So it really is going to come down to one company pretty much tomorrow. That's it. It's all going to be about Nvidia for tomorrow. That's all you're going to hear about in all financial media. Coming over to some individual stocks, so starting with Apple here, and Apple slightly up 37 basis points. We continue to consolidate sideways in that range. So huge resistance here, support here, and we're really just trading sideways at the moment for Apple. And as we've already mentioned, there is a potential for a bull flag breakout, and the next target and resistance is going to be all the way up to $236 for Apple moving forward. Talking a little bit about Amazon, and Amazon here also starting to sell off a little bit further. Coming over to the daily chart, you'll notice that we're coming down to the support here at 175. In fact, we're breaking down below this level, down to 173, and the next target is going to be back down to 166, 167 for Amazon. One more chart that I wasn't able to break down here is going to be this one right here, which is, again, the technical analysis on the individual ETFs and stocks. And one of the big changes that we have witnessed from yesterday is the fact that XLU is actually now down below its 5 SMA, and XLK is back above its 21 SMA. So that was a little bit of a shift because of how much XLK was higher on the day today on the back of Nvidia. And XLU also did see a bit of a pullback. So we did see a rotation out of utilities back into technology in anticipation of these earnings, mostly driven by Nvidia. So it's actually quite crazy that one company is affecting the entire sector, which in turn is affecting the entire market. So that's the chain of thought that I want you guys to follow. It's not like Nvidia's affecting the entire market. In a way it is, but it's not directly affecting it. It's affecting the other stocks within its own sector, technology and AI and semis, which in turn is affecting the entire market. So that's really how it's all playing out. Amazon, like I said, 1.36% lower. Support level is going to stay put at 173 at the moment. Coming over to Tesla here. So Tesla on the day definitely selling off quite a bit. I will be looking to close my covered calls on Tesla very soon. Down almost 2%, but still well within that support of $208. So this right here is going to be that level to keep in mind for Tesla. And of course, if we do end up, let's say, breaking down below this level, the next support, next target is going to be closer to here inside this green rectangle, sitting roughly at 190. So 190, 191 is going to be that level to watch for Tesla. And resistance is going to be all the way up to $233 for this company as well. Still well within the context of a lower high and a lower low. So we got to be super careful with Tesla at the moment. I'm going to be planning to either sell calls or sell puts on Tesla as well for the following week. If it continues to sell off, I think the put premiums for Tesla are also going to be very, very juicy for us to look at for next week, for which the alerts will go out on Friday. Now, coming over to the big name, this is it. Nvidia pushing higher on the day of 1.46%. A little bit of a bull flag formation here, as I already discussed in my previous video. So we're all priced and expecting a bigger move for Nvidia. And again, tomorrow we'll find out. I'll be live to cover this entire report and the market's reaction to Nvidia's earnings. Like I said, let us know in the comment section down below. What are you expecting from this company post earnings? But this right here is a potential flag that is forming with the bull flag. And of course, breakout can get us up to 139, 140. Support level $118. And if we do see a more brutal selling pressure, let's say, Blackwell delays, revenue miss, earnings miss, guidance is terrible, then the max I could see Nvidia drop down to is about 15 to 16%. Anything more than that would be a massive outflow of capital. I mean, if we're talking 20% on a $3 trillion company, that is over $600 billion worth of exodus of capital. I think that's going to be a bit of an overreaction. So I don't expect that to happen. If anything, I do expect Nvidia stock to rip closer to its all-time highs at closer to $140, which, like I said, I think my 5% expectation is going to put us roughly at 135, but even up to 140 is possible. That's an 8% move to the upside. Again, not a big ask from a company like Nvidia. So, it's possible that tomorrow it becomes the most valuable company in the world again. We'll find out. Talking a little bit about Advanced Micro Devices and AMD here. Also starting to roll over just a little bit, still well within the context of a downtrend, so lower highs and lower lows. And the support level that I really want you guys to watch at the moment is going to be 142, kind of aligned with this previous level of support, all the way down to as low as over here at 122, with a near-term resistance sitting right there for Advanced Micro Devices. It's going to be at around $162, $163 for AMD. Coming over to PayPal, and PayPal here on the day slightly down about 60 basis points, still consolidating sideways very much. So day after day, it's just making this doji candle where there seems to be a lot of indecision for PayPal stock. So this right here is the significant amount of consolidation for PayPal, and the next resistance and target is going to be at $76 with a support level inside this green rectangle for PayPal. So a lot of consolidation. We still are trading well above that support, so that's good. Of course, we are a little bit more on the overbought side as well. Talking about Visa, Visa starting to really break out of its previous lower high. So that is actually progress. That's very good, up almost 1%. And the next resistance and target is going to be sitting roughly here at 272, 273 for Visa moving forward. And support level is going to stay put roughly at 266 for the company. Talking a little bit about Meta platforms, and Meta on the day also selling off a little bit over 39 basis points, as we discussed in our previous videos, that it is a bit more on the overbought side. RSI, MACD, L3 banker oscillator, so it's not a surprise that we're seeing a little bit of that rejection there, and Meta starting to roll over. Support level is going to stay put at close to $458 for Meta. So that's going to be that next target, all the way down to inside this green rectangle and that area of support that we need to watch for Meta moving forward. Talking a little bit about Google and Microsoft. And Google here still struggling, consolidating sideways, a little bit of a bear flag formation, down about 92 basis points. You can pretty much come over here, take a look at our market snapshot, and you'll see that Google is still well within a correction. Microsoft's in a correction. You got Google in a correction. Both are down double digits from all-time highs. Nvidia only down less than 9%. Apple, Netflix, Meta, all down well within 5% of their all-time highs, but it's Google, Microsoft, Amazon, of course, Tesla, all of them are down well over 10, 15, 20%. In Tesla's case, down over 49, almost 50% from its all-time highs as well. So still struggling. Support level is going to be inside this green rectangle. If we do end up breaking down further, which would not be unlikely if there is a broad-based sell-off, next support is going to be down at 153. We also have to keep in mind the September seasonality because that is just coming up. It's right around the corner. This is quite literally the last week of August, and we are now heading into the worst month of the year from a seasonality perspective. So this weekend, I will be going over that in more detail in our next week's video as well. Talking about Microsoft, and Microsoft on the day, basically flat, still very much in the context of this head and shoulder. So left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. And this right here inside this green rectangle is going to be that support level to watch for Microsoft at $400 at the moment. And then finally coming over to a few other companies like Enphase and Costco. Enphase slightly down or basically flat here, back above that support of close to 120, and the next target and resistance, as we've already discussed, all the way up to $138 to $140 a share for Enphase, blanked out for a second there, and support level is going to stay put inside this green rectangle for the company as well. However, we are getting up to a little bit more on the overbought side for RSI, MACD, and the L3 banker oscillator for Enphase as well. Costco, on the other hand, breaking out to a new all-time high. So that's one of the reasons why Costco is a stock that is up a lot. It's the number 5th stock that gained almost $7.2 billion in market cap. So breaking out to new all-time highs at just a little bit over $900 per share, crossing over $400 billion in market cap, I believe for the first time. So that is the market cap there, just under $403 billion for the company. So an incredible milestone for Costco. Congratulations to all investors and shareholders. But that's about it for today's market update. Get ready for the big day tomorrow. This right here is what the technical positioning looks like. This is the fundamental and the macro positioning. We're still flashing a little bit more on the red to the yellow sign. That simply does suggest that we need to be very careful, very cautious with this market at the moment as we continue to, of course, push higher. And what I'm personally doing here is selling calls. And also looking to raise more capital, raise more cash so I can deploy it when there is better opportunities, when the risk reward is back in our favor, when the volatility is higher. And that's when the MoneyVest dashboard is going to be flashing green, meaning that we are okay to buy because there is a lot of favorable risk reward opportunities. And again, there's better bargains and discounts out in the market. And the technicals are also flashing red, meaning there is a lot of momentum to the downside. There's a lot of fear, a lot of panic in the market. So when those two things coincide, that's when I start to become a lot more aggressive in my endeavors for dollar cost averaging, and of course being very, very open to the idea of dollar cost averaging and of course finding bargains. So last but not least, I want to give a special shout out to the amazing trip that I've been having over here in Tbilisi, knock on wood, but today was one of the best experiences of my life, and this is not an overstatement. I actually went to a 3-hour experience to a workshop to create a piece of silver jewelry. So this right here is the ring that you see over here that I created. This is a silver ring, 5 grams. I created on my own from scratch, quite literally from melting silver to actually molding it and pressing it and again, making designs on it. So I don't know if you can see, there's some designs on it as well. So I did all of that work with, of course, an instructor here in Tbilisi. We enjoyed some wine and we listened to some music, and we were, creating some very nice piece of jewelry. So it was the best experience. I have posted all of that on my Instagram. So do connect with me there if you want to, again, delve deeper a little bit into my personal life. So link's going to be down below if you're interested in connecting with me there. But that's all I've got for you today. Get ready for tomorrow. I will be live at market close to cover Nvidia's earnings. Make sure that you drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us with that 16% annual discount that expires at the end of this month. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.